Ever wonder which NFL records players and teams absolutely dread having their names attached to? From cringe-worthy pick sixes to epic blown leads, we're counting down the most humiliating milestones in professional football. Buckle up, because these are the stats and slip-ups no one wants to see linked to their favorite squad. Let's dive right into this countdown of the NFL's most embarrassing records. Most penalties. Penalties are the painful little flags that stall drives and fire up the opponent. Nobody likes them, and yet some teams just can't avoid them. Holding calls, pass interference, personal fouls. When you rack them up, you're basically handing free yardage to the other side. The all-time season record for most accepted penalties by a single team belongs to the 2011 Oakland Raiders, who were flagged a whopping 163 times. That's a whole lot of laundry on the field. Even worse, the yardage from those flags added up to 1,358 lost yards. If you need a visual, that's more than enough distance to cover nearly 13 football fields.
It's not just a Raiders thing, though they've consistently been among the most penalized franchises historically. In a single game, the dubious crown goes to the 2016 Raiders as well, who got flagged 23 times in a contest against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It tied an NFL record set decades ago, which should tell you how rarely a team's self-inflicted wounds get that out of control. Raiders fans love their team's renegade image, but 23 penalties is about as undisciplined as it gets.
Why does a team end up with that many flags? It can be a combination of an aggressive style, a lack of focus, or even coaching philosophies that might push the boundaries. Holding calls happen, but multiple personal fouls and unsportsmanlike conduct penalties can sink you faster than a blocked punt. When you're spending more time marching backward than forward, it's usually game over.
Some coaches try to curb penalty issues with strict discipline, fines, extra sprints in practice, or benching repeat offenders. Others emphasize technique work and watch hours of film to avoid the same mistakes. But let's be honest, in the heat of battle, a lot of it comes down to individual decision-making. For fans, penalties bring more frustration than almost any other mistake. You watch your running back break a huge gain, only to see it called back because of a sloppy hold. Talk about a momentum killer. If there's one record your team does not want to sniff, it's the all-time high in flags. Nothing says undisciplined football quite like being the penalty poster boys. Before we move on to the next one in the list, I'd like to ask you a small favor.
If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. Thanks to all of you who do. Worst quarterback rating. Quarterback is often called the most important position in sports. With that spotlight comes the potential for greatness or utter humiliation. Multiple QBs have stumbled to a 0.0 passer rating in a single game, including Peyton Manning in 2015, Ryan Leaf back in his rough rookie year, and a handful of others who'd rather forget that stat line. A 0.0 rating usually means a combination of incomplete passes, interceptions, and minimal yardage. However, when it comes to a consistently low passer rating across an entire career, one name stands out in modern NFL lore: Ryan Leaf. Drafted second overall by the San Diego Chargers in 1998, Leaf was projected to be a franchise cornerstone. Instead, he ended his career with a 50.0 passer rating, one of the worst all-time among QBs with at least 600 pass attempts. By comparison, an average NFL passer rating nowadays hovers around the mid to high 80s. Even in Leaf's era, anything below 70 was cause for alarm. Why was Leaf's rating so abysmal? Let's start with his 36 interceptions to just 14 touchdowns. Add in the completion percentage that hovered around 48%, and you have a recipe for a meltdown. Injuries, off-field issues, and a rocky relationship with the media all contributed to his downfall. But the raw numbers speak for themselves. Leaf struggled mightily to read defenses, make accurate throws, and adapt to the NFL's speed. Nathan Peterman is another name that comes to mind for famously dreadful performances, albeit in a smaller sample size. His 5-interception half against the Los Angeles Chargers in 2017 remains legendary for all the wrong reasons. Peterman's career passer rating is also shockingly low, around 34.0. But he doesn't meet the typical attempt thresholds to top the worst career rating list.
For fans, seeing a 0.0 or near 0.0 rating in a single game is like watching a slow-motion car wreck. You can't believe it's happening, and you wonder if the quarterback will ever complete a pass. For the unlucky soul who holds that record, it's a lasting reminder that the NFL can be brutally unforgiving. No quarterback sets out to earn the lowest rating of all time. But the league's history books don't lie. Most turnovers. They say the football is the most important thing on the field, and losing it is never good. Turnovers kill drives, sap momentum, and deflate an entire team's confidence. So imagine being known as the squad that coughed it up more often than anyone else. That's exactly the unfortunate label pinned on the 1978 San Francisco 49ers, who committed a jaw-dropping 63 turnovers in a single season. Talk about handing out free possessions. In that dismal 1978 campaign, the 49ers were breaking in a rookie head coach by the name of Pete McCulley, and later Fred O'Connor, after McCulley was fired mid-season and the team struggled mightily. Quarterback Steve DeBerg tossed interception after interception, and the running game wasn't much better, coughing up fumbles left and right. By the end of the year, the Niners had limped to a 2-14 record, and the monstrous pile of turnovers was a key reason why. For perspective, many high-powered offenses aim to stay under 20 turnovers for an entire season. Teams that exceed 30 are generally regarded as reckless with the ball. But 63? That is on another level of futility. It's the sort of stat that leaves both fans and analysts in disbelief. And it's part of why the 1978 season is often referred to as the dark days in 49ers history. Just before Bill Walsh took over and revolutionized the franchise. If you want to look at a single game record, the Chicago Cardinals once turned it over 12 times in 1950. That might sound like an old-timey fluke, but it remains a cautionary tale. You can't win if you keep handing your opponent new chances to score. Interceptions, fumbles, it all adds up to heartbreak.
Coaches preach ball security relentlessly,
even going so far as to punish fumblers with extra drills or bench time. Quarterbacks are taught to value every possession. Yet every year, we see teams sabotage themselves with costly giveaways. It's no coincidence that the best teams usually have a positive turnover differential. And if you ask any NFL player or coach, they'll say that being the league leader in turnovers is a surefire ticket to a losing season. Nobody wants that stat on their record. Butt fumble. If there's a single blooper that gets replayed endlessly, it's the infamous butt fumble. On Thanksgiving night in 2012, Mark Sanchez of the New York Jets turned the ball over in a way that still has people shaking their heads. Attempting to salvage a busted play against the New England Patriots, Sanchez ran straight into the backside of his teammate, offensive lineman Brandon Moore. The ball popped loose, and Patriots safety Steve Gregory scooped it up for a touchdown. What makes the butt fumble so special, or more appropriately, so embarrassing? It's not just that it was a fumble returned for a score, which is bad enough. It's that the play was a comedic masterpiece of confusion. Sanchez apparently thought he could scramble for positive yardage, but ended up face first in Moore's posterior. It was a collision that instantly became a meme, and Jets fans worldwide collectively facepalmed.
ESPN's Not Top 10 list famously kept the butt fumble at the #1 spot for weeks, and for good reason. This wasn't just a mishap. It was a choreographed disaster that exemplified the Jets' offensive struggles at the time. Sanchez never really lived it down. Even years later, any mention of the butt fumble gets a chuckle or a groan from NFL fans, depending on whether you're rooting for or against the Jets.
But let's give Sanchez a bit of grace here. In the chaos of an NFL game, weird things happen all the time. Quarterbacks collide with running backs on botched handoffs, linemen trip and fall, and receivers slip on routes. Yet not all of those plays become prime-time comedic gold. The butt fumble was the perfect storm of timing, Thanksgiving game, big market exposure, New York team, and of course, an unintentional physical gag straight out of a cartoon.
To this day, you can find highlight reels of the most embarrassing moments in NFL history, featuring the butt fumble front and center. It's the iconic symbol of a play gone horribly wrong. If you're a quarterback, you don't want your name in the same sentence as butt fumble. That's a record that sticks to you forever. 0-16 season. Winning cures all ills in the NFL. So what happens when you don't win at all? You enter the realm of the 0-16 club, a place no fan base ever wants to visit. The 2008 Detroit Lions etched their name in history as the first team to finish a full 16-game schedule without a single victory. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the 2017 Cleveland Browns joined them, repeating the feat of futility by also going 0-16. The Lions' 2008 season was a masterclass in heartbreak. They started the year with a new head coach in Rod Marinelli, but quickly spiraled out of control. The defense ranked dead last, giving up yards in bunches, while the offense couldn't find any consistency. Quarterbacks Dan Orlovsky and Dante Culpepper struggled, and a revolving door of issues plagued the roster. Fans in Detroit tried to find silver linings, but each Sunday ended in misery. By the time the final whistle blew on their last game, history had been made, and not in a good way. 9 years later, the Browns somehow replicated that dismal performance. Under head coach Hugh Jackson, Cleveland cycled through quarterbacks, including DeShone Kizer, who led the league in interceptions. The team came close to a win a few times, but managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory every single time. It was a brutal slog that left long-suffering Browns fans feeling cursed. Going 0-16 is more than just a statistical outlier. It's a gut punch to an entire organization. The pressure mounts every week as the losses pile up, and the media spotlight becomes relentless. Players and coaches often say they're trying to avoid the embarrassment of going winless. But once you're flirting with 0-10 or 0-12, the narrative becomes impossible to escape. For the Lions and Browns, the silver lining, if you can call it that, came in the form of high draft picks that helped rebuild. Detroit snagged Matthew Stafford first overall in 2009, and Cleveland drafted Baker Mayfield first in 2018, though that experiment had its own roller coaster ride. Still, being immortalized as a winless squad is a legacy that sticks forever. It's a bright red circle around your season, a giant 0 that never goes away. Longest field goal miss. Few positions are as pressure-packed in sports as the NFL kicker. One moment, you're the hero, splitting the uprights from 50-plus yards. The next moment, you're the GOAT, missing a chip shot as the clock hits 0. But for sheer boldness, or maybe desperation, the Oakland Raiders once asked Sebastian Janikowski to attempt a staggering 76-yard field goal in 2008, which ended up as the longest official field goal attempt and miss in NFL history. To put a 76-yard field goal in context, The record for a made field goal is 66 yards, set by Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens in 2021. Before Tucker's record, guys like Matt Prater, 64 yards, and Tom Dempsey, 63 yards, were the gold standard for long-distance bombs. But 76 yards? That's the football equivalent of a half-court buzzer beater in basketball, only with 300-pound linemen trying to block the ball and potentially return it if it falls short. On that fateful day in 2008, the Raiders were trailing late in the game against the San Diego Chargers. Facing a near-impossible situation, then coach Lane Kiffin figured, why not let our big-legged kicker try something historic? The attempt was, unsurprisingly, no good. In fact, it was more of a formality than a realistic shot. But hey, you can't fault them for trying to steal a miracle moment. Missing a kick that long rarely tarnishes a kicker's reputation. Janikowski remains one of the game's most famous big boot specialists. The real agony for kickers often comes from missing much shorter field goals in critical situations. Just ask anyone who's watched a playoff game decided by a last-second field goal. Those heartbreaking misses are replayed endlessly. Still, the distinction of the longest official field goal miss is a weird badge of honor. It demonstrates a team's willingness to gamble, or maybe an utter lack of better options. Fans might roll their eyes and say, that was never going to work. But in the NFL, coaches sometimes figure the slim chance is better than no chance at all. And so, the record books note that 76-yard attempt, reminding us that sometimes you swing for the fences and come up empty. Biggest blown lead. When you're up by 3, 4, or even 5 scores, that should be lights out for the opposing squad. Yet NFL history is littered with examples of teams that let massive leads slip through their fingers. In the Super Bowl realm, the most infamous meltdown is the Atlanta Falcons' 28-3 advantage over the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 51. Falcons fans still haven't recovered from that collapse, where Tom Brady led a comeback for the ages, snatching the Lombardi Trophy out of Atlanta's hands. But that's not even the biggest blown lead in NFL history overall. That painful distinction was once held by the 1992 Houston Oilers, who squandered a 32-point advantage to the Buffalo Bills in a playoff game. Warren Moon and the Oilers were up 35-3 early in the third quarter, only to watch Frank Reich engineer a second-half miracle. It was the largest playoff comeback until the 2022 Minnesota Vikings shattered that with a 33-point comeback against the Indianapolis Colts. Talk about next-level heartbreak. For the team that collapses, it's a brutal cocktail of poor clock management, conservative play calling, and defensive breakdowns. Fans are left screaming at the TV, wondering why their squad stopped doing everything that built that cushion in the first place. Coaches often call it playing not to lose, which leads to stale offensive drives and a defense that's constantly on its heels. Players on both sides never forget these monumental letdowns. The celebrating squad usually relaxes a bit too soon, and the trailing team finds a spark. Maybe it's a turnover, a special teams play, or one big drive that gets them within striking distance. Suddenly, momentum flips, and before you know it, that comfortable lead is gone. It's a nightmare scenario, and it can change a franchise's reputation for years. The mere mention of 28-3 gives any Falcons fan chills. The 33-point Colts meltdown is seared into the memories of Indy fans. You can bet these teams work overtime to ensure they never again make the highlight reels for all the wrong reasons. After all, being the face of a historic collapse is a record nobody wants. Most pick sixes. If there's one specific stat that can instantly swing momentum, it's the pick six. A quarterback throws a pass, a defender snatches it, and just like that, touchdown for the other team. It's a soul-crushing moment that gets the stadium rocking for the defense,
and leaves the offense in total disbelief. And if there's one quarterback who had a knack for throwing these killer interceptions, it's Brett Favre, who holds the all-time record with 31 pick-sixes. Favre is a Hall of Fame gunslinger, known for his fearless approach and monster arm. He racked up touchdowns by the truckload, but he also threw his fair share of interceptions, 336 to be exact. While nobody questions his toughness or love for the game, those risky passes sometimes ended up in the wrong hands with an open lane to the end zone. His pick-six total is a testament to a high-reward, high-risk playing style that wowed fans and infuriated coaches. Peyton Manning comes in second with 27 pick-sixes, which might surprise some people given how cerebral and accurate he was. Even the greatest quarterbacks aren't immune to a well-timed defensive play. Defenders like Deion Sanders, Ed Reed, and Charles Woodson made careers out of capitalizing on errant throws. Sometimes, all it takes is reading the quarterback's eyes or jumping a route. The spectacle of a pick-six is both thrilling and humiliating. Fans go wild for a defensive score because it's such a dramatic, game-altering moment. Meanwhile, the quarterback is left trying to make a desperation tackle or simply watching helplessly as the cornerback or safety sprints to the end zone. It's a highlight that never seems to fade from memory. Still, not all pick-sixes are created equal. Some happen because a receiver runs the wrong route, or a ball bounces off a helmet into a defender's arms. But for the guy under center, it's always going down on your stat sheet. Favre's record of 31 pick-sixes, while overshadowed by his legendary career achievements, is a record that underscores the fine line between boldness and recklessness in the NFL. Throwing a touchdown is great, but throwing one to the other team, that's a cringe-worthy record no quarterback wants. Outro. Jokes aside, these embarrassing records serve as powerful lessons on how quickly fortunes can change in the NFL. One moment you're cruising to victory, the next, you're making highlight reels for all the wrong reasons. Hope you found this video both entertaining and informative. If you're a fan of gridiron drama and want more high-energy breakdowns of the greatest and not-so-greatest moments in pro football, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and here's to keeping our favorite teams off the wrong side of NFL history.